Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk about buying and selling, which is a topic in business mathematics. Specifically, I will talk about markup, then markdown, then mark on, starting with markup because that's the most common. No? I've been noticing that references or books, they give like lot of formulas for these things, no? But to tell you right now, this is really simple. You don't need to really memorize a lot of things. So I will be giving the notes for this one, and I will be answering some problems, and I want you to observe how I do the computation, how I solve it. So for markup, markup is actually your gross profit. So get your selling price, and then deduct your cost. Okay, so for the parentheses, any number enclosed in a parenthesis is decreased, no? That's how we do it in accounting to get your markup. And markup, this is also called gross profit. This is also margin. But in business math, they often make use of the term markup. So we'll use markup. Then after markup, you may have some operating expenses. Operating expenses, you will have to deduct it. So it's enclosed in a parenthesis to get your profit. So I'll just double rule, although you don't really have to double rule in business math. So this is the template that you will be focusing on in solving problems. And most of the time, you will also be given percentages because the problem will say based on something, right? Based on selling price, based on cost, sometimes based on markup. So here's the thing. Whatever the basis is, that's 100%. So if the problem says based on selling price is 100%. The problem says based on cost is 100%. Based on markup is 100%. So that's how you consider the percentages. And normally, this circles around these three: selling price, cost, and markup. Although, you may also see this with operating expense and profit. So let's apply, to appreciate. So I'll write the problem. I will just fast forward when I'm done writing it. Okay, so let's say this is your given. You're given a cost of 12 pesos. Just write P. And then operating expense is 25% of cost, profit is 15% of cost, and you are required to compute the markup in peso and the selling price. So set the formula. The formula again is this. Let me use a different color. This is the formula. Then you may be using this. So let's set selling price, then minus cost to get your markup, minus your expense to get your profit. So you are given the cost. This is a bad color, maybe red. Okay, cost is 12, so write 12 here. And then operating expense is 25% of cost, meaning cost is 100%. And then for profit, it's 15% of cost. And since the basis is still the cost, this is okay. So that's the given. Now, you have to note that if you add your expense and profit, you will get your markup. So 15 plus 25, this is 40% of cost. Right? Because 40% minus 25%, you will get 15%. So this is correct. So we can work backwards. Selling price is 140% because 140% minus 100% is 40%, right? Now, how do we get the selling price first? You just cross multiply. You will just do this one, cross multiply. So to get this one, you will get your cost 12 times 1.4 or 140% divided by 1 or 100%. The answer is 16.8. So that's the selling price, 16.8. How about the markup? You can just do it here. The answer is 4.8, but you can also cross multiply this part. So to compute this, 12 times 0.4 divided by 1. So that's 4.8. Okay? So that's how you play around with the answers using this template. Again, whatever the basis is, that's 100%. So let's have another problem. Okay, so this is the given. Maybe green. Let's use green. Cost is 45. Markup is 25% based on cost. So cost is 100%. So set up the formula again. I will not be writing expense this time because you are not given anything about the expense. So let's just use this 3. Cost is 45. Markup is 25% based on cost. The basis is cost. So cost is 100%. This is 25%. So this is a decrease, right? So selling price is 125%. Because 125 minus 100, that's 25, right? So how do you get the selling price? Cross multiply. To get this one, you will get your cost 45 times 1.25 divided by 1. Answer is 56.25. This is the selling price. How about the markup? So you'll just deduct. Answer is 11.25. This is the markup. But again, you can also cross multiply to compute. So that's 45 times 0.25 divided by 1. This is also 11.25. Let's have another again, no? Pakabitin. So let's try this one. You are given the selling price, 135, and the markup is 25% based on the selling price. So let's set the formula. Selling price minus cost equals markup. Selling price is 135, and then the markup is 25%. The basis is selling price, so this is 100%. So cost is 75%. You're asked to compute the cost. So, cross multiply. That's 135 times 0.75 divided by 1. Answer 101.25. So, this is 101.25. And then for the markup, it's 135 minus 101.25. 33.75. But you can also cross multiply to compute the markup. That's 101.25 times 0.25 divided by 0.75. You will get this answer. So let me check. Okay, so that's markup. Very easy, no? Next. So for next part, I will talk about mark on. For mark on, you will still be using this, but you will be adding another column because this is how I approach the problems with mark on. So you will have a column for without mark on, and then another column for with mark on. Okay, so let me set the formula. This is the selling price minus cost to get the markup minus expense to get the profit, right? So you'll have the amount here, deduct, get the markup, deduct to get the profit. And I will just double rule. The selling price here will be transferred here. This means that you will only be using the column without mark on to get your selling price. So get the selling price and then you will be adding the mark on. Why? Because it's the peak season of the product, so you will be enticed to add something to the regular selling price. So that's the mark on to get the peak selling price. So get the amount here. Mark on is added. Remember, this is added. Added. to get the peak selling price. And then after that, you proceed as usual, minus cost to get your markup, less expenses to get your profit. So that's how you approach the problems with mark-on. By the way, sir, what if I'm asked to compute the profit? What will I use? This one or this one? Of course, the one with mark-on, because you are given a mark-on in the problem. Again, you're only using the without mark-on column to compute the selling price, because you will use the selling price to the with mark-on column. Given that, let's try to solve some problems. Okay, so this is the given. You are given a mark-on of 10 pesos, cost of 90 pesos, markup is 35% based on cost. And you are tasked to compute the peak selling price, meaning the new selling price. So let's do the column for without mark-on first. Selling price minus cost to get the markup. Cost is 90. Markup is 35% based on cost. Basis is cost, so cost is 100%. And then you bring this up. This is 135%. Cross multiply to get the regular selling price. So that's 90 times 1.35 divided by 1. It's 121.5. So you will transfer it to another column. And then you will add your mark on, because that's the increase in price. So that's 10 to get your peak selling price or new selling price, 131.5. So this is the answer. Let's have another. Okay, so let's try this one. You are tasked to compute the regular selling price and the cost. You are given the peak selling price of 500 pesos, mark up 25% of cost, and mark on 15% of cost. So let's set both selling price, and then here deduct your cost to get the markup. But here you will add the mark on to get the peak selling price. And the peak selling price is 500. And then the markup is this part. It's 25% of cost. So this is 100%, making this 125%. And then mark on, the basis is consistent. So you can write 15% here. Then transfer the rate for the selling price. That's 125. And then you will add, no? Because mark on is added. This is 140%. So with this one, you can just cross multiply to get the selling price. 500 times 1.25 divided by 1.4. The answer is 446.43. So that's the regular selling, 446.43. And then how about the cost? So let's transfer it here. 446.43, and then you cross multiply again. So 446.43 times 1 divided by 1.25. The answer is 357.14. So that's how you play around with the template for mark on. So you will be setting a column without mark on and then another column with mark on, so that it's not confusing. Because if you do it in just one straight computation, it may confuse you depending on the problem. And that's mark on. And finally, I will talk about markdown. And with markdown, same with mark on, you will be setting two columns, no? One column for without markdown, and then another column for with markdown. Same with the one earlier, the without column is there for you to compute the selling price. Selling price minus cost to get your markup, then expense profit. Then once you get the answer here, you will just transfer it here, selling price. And then you will deduct the markdown, because markdown is like the discount given by the seller. So that's discount, so it's deducted to get the sales price. So there's a difference. This is selling price. This is sales price. So that's different. And then proceed as usual, minus cost to get your markup, minus expense to get your profit. So this is the template that you want to be using, no, when dealing with markdown problems. So let's try this one with a problem. Okay, so this is the given regular selling price of 8,500 pesos. Markdown percentage is 55%, and normally the basis of this one is the regular selling price. Cost is 3,450 pesos. Expense 14% of regular selling price, and you are tasked to compute the sales price, which is the amount after the markdown and then the profit. Let's set the formula first. Selling price minus cost markup. Then we have the expense, so we write expense. Regular selling price is 8.5. So right away you are given the regular selling price. So you may go ahead and write here. What's the markdown? Markdown is 55%. If this is 100%, this 55. The sales price is 45%. So just have to cross multiply here. No need to compute markdown anymore because it's not required. So to compute the sales price, 8.5 times 0.45 divided by 1. Answer is 3825. So this is 3825. That's the sales price, no? We have the answer for 1. And then deduct your cost. What's the cost? It's 3,450. Markup is 375. And then get your expense. Expense is 14% of RSP. 14% of RSP, it's 8.5. Answer is 1,190. So you will reduce it here to get the profit. Actually, this is loss, but anyways, we will just write it in parentheses. 375 minus 1,190, that's negative 815. So let's change this one. Loss is 815. So this is the answer. So let's have another, last one, for markdown. You are given the cost of 39. Markup is 200% of cost. Expense is 40% of cost. Markdown is 29.25. And then you are tasked to compute the profit. And again, for the profit, it should be the profit in the with markdown column. So since you don't have the regular selling price yet, let's compute for that. So regular selling price minus cost to get the markup. Cost is 39. Markup is 200% of cost, making your regular selling price 300%. Cross multiply. So 39 times 3 divided by 1. Answer. This is 7. So 117. Transfer it. RSP 117 minus your markdown. It's 29.25 to get your sales price. It's 87.75. Then you have your cost 39 to get your markup. So it's 48.75 minus your expense. Expense is 40% of your cost, 39. So 39 times 40%, it's 15.6. So this is 15.6, giving you a profit of 33.15. So that's how you solve problems if you are given a markdown in a problem. So that's it. No? Hopefully this is helpful, and you may notice that I haven't used much formula. I just added some things, but basically I am circling around the selling price minus cost equals markup formula.